Say welcome everybody. We're going to proceed on with our exploration and learning with everything Disc on Catalyst, utilizing the Catalyst platform. So as we did last time too, please be sure to open your Catalyst platform, and the web URL is here on the slide. It's at catalyst.everythingdisc.com, and we each have our own accounts that we can sign into, but we will be using this platform with the call today. We're going to use some breakout rooms and some other collaborative and really engaging features as we get into everything Disc on Catalyst. And to start, let's do a quick recap, really where we left off, but a recap of everything Disc, right? And everything Disc is designed, bear with me 2 seconds here. There we go. I was trying to log into Catalyst too. And once you're set, we're good. All right, in this session, we're going to use the Catalyst platform to learn more about each other and learn more about other people that you might work with, even people that aren't on this call, when we know more about their styles. Before we dive in, again, this quick overview of the DISC model. The DISC model, it consists of these 4 main styles. We have D, I, S, and C, right? People with the D style, they tend to be really direct and firm. People with the I style are usually more outgoing and enthusiastic. And as we continue around the map here, people with the S style tend to be even-tempered and accommodating, and then people with the C style tend to be analytical and reserved. All right, but remember, you can also have a blend of 2 styles. So what I mean by that is if you had a dot placement, say here where my cursor is, where you'd be in the S region, but you're really close to the C kind of line, then you can have the blended style of the SC style. So with this, let's do a quick poll and kind of see what our styles are. So we'll start to pull forward a poll for everyone, and we'll go to launch it, and then when the poll comes, we'll all put our styles in, and then we can broadcast once everybody has contributed. We're still waiting on just a couple. All right, looks good. We can start to broadcast the results so all of us see where we're at. Right, and the great part with us as we sit here today is we have all 4 styles represented here. Now, it's not equal distribution or representation, but we can see that we have people from all 4 quadrants. Now, if you needed to remind yourself of the style or any of the additional shading and some of the constructs that we explored previously, you can always go back to that Your Style component within the Catalyst platform. So with this, does anyone have any questions before we continue on with the content for today? No questions. All right, be sure that we can use chat. We can bring questions in whenever. We don't have to do them right now, but just a recap on DISC. And so now how we want to use our learnings with DISC, the goals for the next bit that we're going to go through is to use the Catalyst platform and discover important insights about the people we work with. Right, last time we discovered insights about ourselves, and then we got to start this journey about discovering more about others. But we're going to use the Catalyst platform really as a jumping off point for conversations with each other about our similarities and also about our differences. And these conversations, they can go beyond just DISC style, right? And so what we want to do is actually navigate to the section of Catalyst that's called Your Colleagues, and I can show you on mine as you have this open in a separate window. But if you're struggling to find the Your Colleagues, you can see I'm sharing my screen here. And as I go to the top menu in the top right-hand corner, I can now open the menu and I see this section right here that's titled Your Colleagues. And this is where we're going to spend most of our time today, right? And we'll see different people cards in here. But we can use this part of the platform to learn more about the people we work with and get tips for working together. And the great thing about this is everyone on the call here today, we're part of the same, you're part of the same organization, so you can see these tips with your real coworkers. Now, to try this out, what we're going to actually do is have some partner conversations. So in a moment, I'm going to assign each of you a partner, somebody to look at on the Catalyst platform. So once you see who your partner is, once we receive these partner assignments, the 2 of you should look at each other in in the Catalyst platform, right? And you can use the search function, or you can scroll until you see their name. So again, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go back to my Catalyst site, and once you know who I'm asking you to be paired with, you can search for that person here, or you can continue to scroll through the site and find that individual, and then you'll click on their card for whoever we're assigned. So with this, I think the typical question is going to be, well, who's my partner? Who am I supposed to be? Who are we supposed to be paired with? So I've pulled in an additional slide here where I just put everybody's names on the slide, right? And so you can see here quick who your partner is, and remember this because we'll have it put here on the slide. There is a group of 3. So for Matt, Sydney, and Amanda, you can pick one of them and check it out, and then we'll have conversations. Like Matt, you can look at Sydney, Sydney's look at Amanda's, and Amanda look at Matt. And we should be good with that, right? And we could also put this in chat too, so you know who your partner is. Right? Any questions on whose information that we're going to be looking at yet? Your partner. All right, so now that we know our partners, let me go back and clarify a few of the asks, right? What we're going to do with the person that you've been assigned for today's call, we want you to take a minute and look at your partner's page. And at the same time, they're going to be looking at your page. You'll see some information that's about them at the top of that page. And below that are different types of information about the two of you. Right, partway down the page, if you've already clicked on it, partway down the page, you'll see a series of continua where both you and your partner are plotted. So we're going to spend a couple minutes and look through these. Really choose the continua that's most interesting for you. For example, you might choose a continua that has the biggest impact on your working relationship, or that shows the two of you furthest apart or even closest together. Or just think of a continua that may be relevant to the challenge of working together, or even challenge of working together remotely. So I'll again demo this or show you kind of the click path within the Catalyst platform. So I came all the way from the top. I went to the menu at the top right. I came over to the Your Colleague section on the left. As I entered the Your Colleague section, then I search for the colleague who I'm looking for. And let's just say that I was looking for Dominic. What I can do is click on Dominic's people card, I'll call it, and when Dominic's page loads, it's going to have information about Dominic and information about me. And as I scroll down, we can see the disk style differences and similarities. And then we can continue to scroll, where then we'll start to see these continua. And each of the continua will see our placements, but then we also have details beneath them. All right, so what we want to do now is spend 3 minutes just exploring the site that's built for you and who you're paired with. All right, before I start this 3-minute timer, do we have any clarifications or questions? Or what questions do you have? All right, I can through these videos, I can see your eyes are actively reading, so I think some of you have already started. So we'll just jump right in. I'll get the timer going, and then we'll come back together in 3 minutes. All right, the time has kind of ticked away, but even if you're finishing up that final thought, we're going to continue these conversations. So know that we can continue the thoughts and continue the combos. And really what that's going to look like is a breakout room, a partner conversation. The person or the small group that you've been paired with. In a moment, I'm going to send you into a breakout room with your partner. And we want you to spend a few minutes with that partner kind of talking about which continua you found the most interesting. Then discuss these questions that are here on the screen. And we'll put them in the chat too, or I'll summarize them in chat so that it can be in the breakout room with you. But really, how is the similarity or difference highlighted in your chosen continua, whichever one you chose? How's that similarity or difference reflected in the way that you work together, right? Or how might it impact your relationship? And if you have time, you can explore more than one continua with the conversation. But really right now, we want you to have these one-on-one conversations, and we'll leave you in the breakout rooms for 7 minutes, right? And then after you have this private conversation, we'll come back together and continue forward, right? Because after all, we work with more than just one coworker or one colleague. So kind of forging this relationship can be powerful. And with this, we'll get here we go, it's in chat. So how is the similarity or difference highlighted in your chosen continuum reflected in the way that you work together? And again, the prompt on this, you're going to have 7 minutes. So just you and your partner in the breakout room, and you both have access to the Catalyst site where you can see the same continua. So with that, we'll see you back in this main room in 7 minutes.
Hi.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. This was funny
Um,
to go through. Great.
so fun. Which one did you choose?
Focused on realities and focused on possibilities.
Me too.
So, okay, I want to start by saying if you just look at our dot placement and the little blurb like under where it shows our shading, I was expecting to see a lot more differences, but as I opened all of them, even where we were a little bit farther apart, I was like, no, but basically the same. So
Yes, I had the same impression.
that was fun. But yeah, the focused on realities versus possibilities. Um, what were the questions that we? How is it reflected in the way you work together?
So I think that one to me caught my attention because it's where we can complement each other most, I think. Because sometimes I feel like I am too realistic and in projects you usually also need that creative approach, like let's, think farther and be more creative, I guess, in general. Like, let's think outside of the box. So I think that could be a benefit for me if we were to work together. That would be something that I would really appreciate.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, I do enjoy brainstorming and long-term goals, but sometimes I think way too long-term and kind of pie in the sky. This is in an ideal world, this is what we could do. And it's good to kind of get brought back in a bit. Okay, but tangible right now, what's our reality and how are we going to execute the plan or get to our next smaller goal because we're not there yet.
Yeah. Something caught my attention here at the beginning where we're looking at the similarities and differences. The second difference says you tend to challenge people and I tend not to challenge people, which I thought was interesting because I tend to challenge, but it's usually ideas.
Mm,
So I don't know how that comes across different because people take
right.
challenge as a challenge kind of no matter what. I do find that some people take it more personal than other people,
Mhm.
but I think it was interesting the way it's phrased here.
I would like to talk about precision because it says that I'm more precise and you are less precise. And so I'd like to know
Where's
how you,
that?
and that's under differences up at the top. It was
Okay.
how do you interpret
Yeah,
that?
that's interesting. I have no clue. Is there a continua that talks about that? Maybe.
Maybe structured versus unstructured, but even still, that's kind of the same.
Yes. Well, but you do seem to be a little bit more towards the structured side. I feel like the way I
All right, it looks like we're starting to trickle back into the main meeting room. We'll give it just a moment to make sure everybody gets reconnected in here. Awesome. We're set. That was incredibly fast with the 7 minutes exploring the continua. Say, I'd love to know if there's anyone who'd be willing to share some of the content that they discussed.
I have.
Yeah, Amanda, take it away.
We was in the room now, and Sydney style is S. I have ID style and metals have just I style. And one thing was nice to see. Me and Sydney have different styles in extremes, I and S, and we have the emotional part more similarly. And me and Meadows have I style, and here uh, here I show more emotional support, and Meadows show less emotional support. So I think this is curious because we both have I style and Sydney have S. It's nice to see.
But at the same time, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's nice to see.
And we can see that across the styles. So I thank you for sharing in the example, but even if we paired two, I'll just say C styles together, they'd likely find areas where in the continua their dots are close together. Sorry, the pencils, the areas where the dots are close together, and then areas that they're further apart. And it's a powerful way to continue the conversation. And thinking back to those cornerstone principles that we had identified previously when we met with how all styles are equally valuable, and we're a blend of all four styles, right? So there's a lot that goes in. Thank you for sharing, Amanda. Say, does another group or another individual want to share some insight or a part of their conversation? Yeah, Alicia, I see your hands up.
Yeah, so I was paired with Angelica, and so she has a CD style, I have a DI style, and I think the thing that struck both of us was when you looked at the first part of the comparison page, especially when looking at our priorities, we would have expected more differences, but almost every continua was very similar. And there was only one that we saw any real meaningful differences on. Everything else, it might not have, we might not have both been one might have been very questioning, one might have been somewhat, but for the most part, I think there was a lot more similarities than we were expecting, and we only got that from looking at the continua because the top half we would have seemed very different.
Hey, thank you for sharing that. And I think to your points, Alicia, too, where you got to explore some of the differences that you don't see with just the map, right? You were just scratching the surface here with 7 minutes. That's a really quick conversation to have. And at the same time, you had it with one of your colleagues, right? So really, this is where Catalyst can be a powerful next step. And there's another part of the colleagues page that I'd like to quickly point out. There's a section about working together with other people, where you can get advice for working with others in different contexts, like getting their buy-in or handling tension. On your own, really almost like I'll say a call to action for today's meeting is to spend some time reviewing the sections for the people you work with closely, right? And we got to explore one set of continua with one partner in here, but you have all of the people within your organization who have completed everything Disc on Catalyst. You can find them you can find them within the Catalyst platform. So on your own, I'd really suggest spending some time reviewing this section, learning more about your colleagues, exploring those colleague pages to learn about teammates and help you develop those stronger working relationships, right? Take it a step further, have conversations with one another about what you found interesting and maybe what surprised you. And you can use Catalyst to help look for ideas that you can incorporate in the ways that you work together. And with this, I want to, again, thank you all for participating in today's session. And I'd really encourage you to kind of pencil in some time to continue exploring that Catalyst program. But it's been great, and we look forward to touching base with you in the near future. With that, take care.